So, we know one big reason advanced drummers are better than us, right? Chops. For years, I thought this was the only thing. Once I learn 6 singles and combos, I'll be all set. And I've gotten comments over the years from plenty of people who consider hand speed synonymous with greatness. Here's one. But let me throw a wrench in the gears. What if Eric, Thomas, Devin, Mason, Andy, Tony, and all those other chop hounds couldn't play any chops? Like, what if they were at a shed where the rule was you can't play any chops? What if they could only play groove? Would they still be better than us? And if so, what else makes them better? Well, today we're going to talk about just one thing. Stay tuned. Last year, Adam Tumanero, whose footage I'm linking to mercilessly here. Sorry, Adam. You guys should check out Adam. I'll link to his channel below. Anyway, last year, Adam posted a chronology of his journey from beginner to his current level. And I'm sure you'll agree, Adam sounds pretty great recently. Footage from another recent video. Sorry, Adam. When that personal journey video came out, I posted it to my page asking my audience if they could identify the inflection point. Answers varied, but eventually converged to a period when Adam was heads down playing with his various bands. Here's why I think you'll find this interesting. Here's a before clip from Adam. Now here's an after clip. I deliberately chose those clips because he's not chopping out in either one of them. In fact, you could argue his earlier playing is a little bit choppier than his later playing. So, what's the difference if it's not chops? Want another example? Here's a beginner drummer playing plenty of chops. Now, here's Richard Spavin playing practically zero chops. To make this even clearer, let me illustrate on the drum kit. Here's a beat like I used to play before I was aware of the difference. Now, here's how I'd play the same beat. Get it? It's playing together well with ourselves. What I, and I think Mike Johnston, call playing clean. And here's my favorite analogy to illustrate the point. This is a high school drum line. They're not very tight, but let's cut these guys a break. They do this an hour a day for 2 months out of the year. A lot of us, when we're beginners, sound like this. Here's me playing again. Notice how my kick drum is flamming with my hands? How I'm not playing in the same part of the drum head every time, so I'm getting an inconsistent sound? Yeah, advanced drummers don't do that. Now, here are the Blue Devils. They practice 12 hours a day for 3 months out of the year and do a ton in the off season. Hear how they're playing in such a coordinated way that it sounds like one player? Now, here's Richard Spavin. Here's Mark Juliana. They're not flaming, they're not getting inconsistent sounds, they're just playing clean. But wait a minute, you say, that's a false comparison. What if I'm not trying to sound like a modern tech wizard? What if I'm trying to sound like Ginger Baker, or Mitch Mitchell, or Jim Keltner, or Ringo? First of all, I could show you examples of all of those players playing clean. Ringo's my favorite example. Ringo played all night, every night for 10 years before the Beatles ever got famous. You put in that kind of time, you're gonna be good at some kind of style, even if it's different from Richard Spaven's. Drummers who don't want to practice are constantly trotting out Ringo, and it's not fair to Ringo. Besides, here's a live clip, which hopefully won't get this video yanked. And it's Ringo playing clean. But bottom line, this lesson is for people who want to be great at the drums as an instrument. You can definitely find examples of drummers in great bands who didn't aspire to be virtuosic on the instrument. But this lesson is ultimately for people who do want to get really good on the drum kit, even if they're playing more like Ringo than Richard. Cool? But wait, and I have to answer yet another potential objection. Aren't there choppy drummers who are advanced, but who sound looser? Well, we have to be careful. Here's Vinny playing intentionally loose. Here's Weckl playing intentionally loose. And of course there's Elvin Jones. That's different. To varying degrees, these are all examples of virtuosic players who are choosing to play looser. What uncontrolled looseness sounds like is this. And as I hope I illustrated in my Other Way to Play Faster episode, a simple, sincere Brian Blade solo will always beat this type of playing in my book. So I'll go ahead and lay it out. It's my humble opinion that there aren't advanced drummers, at least in this day and age, who can't, to the bare minimum, play cleanly with themselves if they want to. It's that secret thing that they all do better, just as the lesson promised. Okay, great, but how do we do it? So, how do we play cleaner? A few examples. First, the more exciting. This is exercise 1 from what I called the 80-20 challenge on Instagram, which was a response to Drummeo's challenge. I like this exercise not because it's realistic to anything you'd play in real life, but because it gives you the perfect illustration of what it feels like to play clean. If your limbs aren't sinking like members of the Blue Devils, you know immediately. Now, here's challenge exercise number 2, which is even more challenging. As you switch from 16ths to 30 seconds, make sure you don't lose the lockup between your hands and your kick drum foot. Next, 2 more realistic examples. This first one is familiar to anyone in my coaching course. 3, 4. It looks simple, but it's impossible to do unless you can play clean. Just like the challenge exercise, your hand will tend to flam with your kick drum when you've got the catch part of a drop catch motion coinciding with the first stroke of a double on the kick. To make it even harder, add hats on the eighth notes. Finally, you can do the funky drummer continual drop catch thing in the right hand, as I detailed in my funky drummer lesson last year, and work on those spots where the catch of the drop catch with the right hand overlaps with the first note of a kick drum double. Once you have this concept in your mind, you'll probably notice all sorts of examples where you're not playing clean in your improvisation. That's okay. Just choose simpler ideas and try to stick to stuff you can control. For even more on how you can improvise inside your circle of control, check out another lesson I just did called The Other Way to Play Faster Drum Solos, which I'll link below. And for those of you guys ready to cut to the chase and get a whole bevy of exercises that'll help you play cleaner, I recommend my product, the 80/20 coaching course, which we only open up for new students a few times a year. If you'd like to get on the list to hear when that's going to open next and get a completely free gateway drug, I recommend you click directly below the player, enter your email in on the next page, and I'll send you 3 free videos, which I assert will make your playing better in the next 3 weeks than it's gotten in the last 6 months. Dudes, it's been a lot of fun. Hope to see you back here next week, same time, same channel, for another lesson of the week. I posted it to my... Yay!